Greenland, it is not for sale.
Greenland is not for sale, declared Greenland's Prime Minister Kim Kielsen, shutting down Donald Trump's proposal to purchase the island. But why would a US president even want to buy this seeming frozen chunk of nowhere? What makes this icy expanse so valuable? The truth is, Greenland's story as a territory of interest stretches far beyond Trump's 2019 and 2024 bids. First settled by the Inuit, then colonized by Vikings, then for centuries remaining under Scandinavian rule, serving as a colonial outpost of Denmark, its people have steadily carved a path toward greater autonomy though. And Greenland gained home rule in 1979, followed by self-government in 2009, marking key milestones in its push for independence. Yet, the question of who controls Greenland has been asked long before, and often by the United States. In 1868, Secretary of State William Henry Seward, maybe you know him as the guy who brokered the purchase of Alaska, said he considered the idea of US annexation of Greenland and Iceland worthy of serious consideration. What did Seward's clairvoyance see that others missed? Something only time and the defrosting of hindsight could reveal? And the scary thing is, Greenland has only got more important since Seward's time. After World War II, the United States made a formal offer to purchase Greenland from Denmark in 1946, offering $100 million in gold bullion, equivalent to over $1.4 billion today. This proposal came as Greenland's strategic importance was underscored by its role during the war, particularly as a refueling station and host to US military bases under the Greenland Defense Agreement. Denmark may have said no, but the US didn't lose interest, because Greenland's value has only grown since then. So what's really at stake here? Greenland's value skyrocketed during the Cold War as it sat equidistant between Washington, D.C., and Moscow, right in the middle of the Arctic Missile Corridor. For Russian ballistic missiles traveling over the Arctic toward the U.S., Greenland became a vital link in early warning systems and missile defense. The Patuxent Space Base, formerly Thule Air Base, plays a key role in U.S. missile detection, providing radar coverage that can spot potential threats in under 15 minutes. It also tracks satellites and debris in low Earth orbit, and provides Arctic surveillance capabilities, underpinning the U.S. Space Force's operations. Think Greenland's importance is limited to space and missile defense? Think again. Its role in shipping is just as vital. The Greenland-Iceland-UK Gap, better known as GI-UK Gap, is a critical naval choke point connecting the Arctic to the North Atlantic. During World War II, Britain's occupation of Iceland under Operation Fork blocked Germany from exploiting the gap. In the Cold War, NATO fortified the area with the SOSUS sonar network, using underwater hydrophones to detect Soviet submarines over vast distances. Greenland remains crucial as the northern anchor for monitoring the naval movements of the contemporary Russian Federation in the strategic corridor. The North Atlantic is arguably the trade network upon which the Euro-American alliance is built. The major global trade corridor, with nearly 30% of global trade passing through it, relies on secure shipping lanes that NATO helps protect through control of the gap. Moreover, the region is home to critical undersea cables that handle 99% of transatlantic internet and data traffic, supporting financial transactions worth trillions of dollars daily, disruption of which would have catastrophic economic consequences for Europe, North America, and global markets. Russia's response is its bastion defense strategy. Designed to secure the Kola Peninsula, home to its northern fleet, by establishing a multi-layered protective zone that deters adversaries from entering critical Arctic regions. This strategy employs advanced missile systems, including the P-800 Onyx supersonic anti-ship missiles and the Bal coastal missile system, equipped with Kh-35 missiles, making Russia a formidable threat to the GI-UK Gap. To counter this, Greenland anchors NATO's Arctic defense, linking bases like Thule to Keflavik in Iceland and Bodo in Norway to monitor Russian activities, secure trade routes, and counter threats, and reinforces NATO's control of the GI-UK Gap, protecting transatlantic trade and military routes, demonstrating how crucial the island is as a bulwark in the North Atlantic. Okay, so what happens when the Arctic melts, we hear you ask? Does it lose its importance? Not a chance. Greenland becomes even more critical. The Arctic ice is receding faster than ever, with the region warming nearly 4 times faster than the global average. The Northwest Passage, once a frozen dream, is quickly becoming a critical route for global trade as Arctic ice melts due to climate change. This passage, which runs through the Canadian Arctic archipelago, connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and offers a faster alternative to traditional shipping routes like the Panama and Suez Canal. For example, a voyage from Shanghai to Rotterdam via the Northwest Passage is about 30% shorter, cutting travel distances by up to 7,000 kilometers, which is about 4,300 miles, and reducing transit times by 10-15 days. By 2040, the Northwest Passage is expected to be ice-free for most summers, making it much easier and safer for ships to navigate. Shipping activity is already ramping up. Between 2013 and 2019, the number of unique ships entering the Northwest Passage rose by 44%, with vessels like bulk carriers, cargo ships, fishing boats, and even cruise ships making the journey. So, Greenland's importance is on the rise. But there's a new player in town who's taken notice: China. In 2017, Beijing rolled out its ambitious Northern Sea Route, also known as NSR or Ice Silk Road, is transforming the Arctic into a key trade corridor alongside Russia, which is currently in control of 40% of the Arctic's coastline. The partnership includes major projects like the Yamal LNG plant, the world's largest liquefied natural gas venture, and the Payaka oil field, with a $5 billion investment in pipelines and ports. The Zarubino port near the Chinese border is being developed into Northeast Asia's largest port. In contrast, the Arkhangelsk deepwater port aims to link Russia's Arctic coast to Siberia and global markets, creating 40,000 jobs. Denmark has, so far, actively blocked Chinese investment in Greenland's infrastructure projects, citing national security and geopolitical influence concerns. In 2018, the Chinese state-owned enterprise China Communications Construction Company was shortlisted to bid on Greenland airport projects in Nuuk, Ilulissat, and Qaqortoq. However, Denmark intervened by offering to finance and co-own the projects, effectively sidelining Chinese involvement and illustrating once more that control over Greenland means a stronger foothold in the Arctic chessboard. But while the Arctic is melting, it remains frozen for now, making icebreaker fleets another key to dominance. And in this game, Russia is miles ahead with 40 operational icebreakers, including several nuclear-powered vessels, while the US limps along with just 2 functional icebreakers. This gap enables Russia to dominate Arctic shipping routes, solidifying its role as the primary gatekeeper of the Northern Sea Route. To counter this, the Trump administration proposed building 6 new icebreakers by the mid-2030, aiming to challenge Russia's influence and keep the US competitive in the Arctic. In addition to shorter routes that could save billions annually in fuel and operational costs, the Arctic also holds an estimated 90 billion barrels of oil and 30% of the world's undiscovered natural gas, much of which could be transported through these waters. Then there's the legal drama. Canada says it's their internal waters, while the US and others argue it's an international strait. If the US controlled both ends, Alaska in the west and Greenland in the east, it could dominate the passage, control trade, military movements, and energy transport, while sidelining Canada's sovereignty claims. It's the kind of bold vision William Seward had when he dreamed of using Greenland and Alaska to pull Canada into the US, a vision Trump wasn't shy about reviving in his Arctic ambitions. So, we covered trade routes and military choke points, but did you know Greenland is sitting on a gold mine? Well, a rare earth mine, to be exact. Greenland possesses significant reserves of rare earth oxides, estimated at 38.5 million tons, positioning it as a promising region for rare earth production. These minerals are essential for manufacturing batteries, wind turbines, defense systems, and electric vehicles, EVs, which are pivotal in the green energy transition and national security strategies. Here's the catch. Right now, China dominates the rare earth market, accounting for approximately 60% of global production and controlling nearly 90% of refining capacity, effectively giving it a near monopoly on supply chains. For the US and its allies, tapping into Greenland's resources isn't just about energy. It's about breaking free from Chinese influence and winning this round of Cold War 2.0. Greenland sees the opportunity to cash in on this geopolitical chess match, and several deposits in Greenland are already drawing significant attention. The Konefjeld mine, operated by Australia's Greenland Minerals Limited, holds an estimated 11 million tons of rare earths, including neodymium and praseodymium, which are essential for the magnets used in wind turbines and EV motors. However, the project has faced backlash due to Chinese investment, with the company's largest shareholder being Shanghai Resources, a Chinese rare earth firm, raising concerns about Beijing's growing influence in the region. The Konefjeld project contains significant uranium deposits, though a 2021 ban on uranium mining has halted its development. The Kringlerne Tanbreez deposit, owned by Tanbreez Mining Greenland, is even richer, containing an estimated 28.2 million tons of rare earth oxides, including zirconium, hafnium, and light rare earths. Zirconium and hafnium are critical for advanced aerospace applications and nuclear reactors, making this deposit strategically valuable for defense and high-tech industries. Greenland's potential to become a global leader in critical minerals is undeniable, but its development is now the center of the US-China geopolitical battleground. For the US, fostering closer ties with Greenland and investing in its mining sector could secure access to these resources, ensuring that the Western supply chain remains resilient and independent of Chinese control. With rare earth demand expected to rise by 400% by 2040 due to the renewable energy boom, Greenland's resources could be the key to the West's green energy ambitions and national security strategies. But Greenland's economy, while rich in natural resources, remains heavily reliant on fishing and subsidies from Denmark. Fishing, particularly shrimp and halibut, accounts for nearly 90% of Greenland's exports, but this economic dependence on a single sector leaves the island vulnerable to market fluctuations and environmental changes. Danish subsidies play a crucial role in supporting Greenland's economy, contributing approximately 20% of its GDP, around 3.9 billion Danish kroner annually, or about $600 million. These funds are essential for financing public services, including healthcare and education, and keeping the economy afloat. Despite these financial lifelines, poverty remains a significant issue. Greenland has a population of only 56,000 people, but many live in remote communities with limited access to infrastructure, jobs, and opportunities, and 16% live below the poverty line. Unemployment rates, particularly in smaller settlements, are high, and Greenland's isolation, harsh climate, and dependence on imports for basic goods also contribute to a high cost of living, further exacerbating inequality. Improving connectivity is key to addressing Greenland's challenges and boosting its economy. The newly expanded Nuuk International Airport now allows direct flights to North America and Europe, with United Airlines launching Newark-Nuuk routes in mid-2025. Air Greenland has also shifted its hub to Nuuk, offering better access to Copenhagen and other destinations. These developments are expected to reduce isolation, create jobs, and attract tourism, helping Greenland diversify its economy and lessen its reliance on Danish subsidies. The Greenland Self-Government Act of 2009 grants significant autonomy and the right to self-determination, requiring Greenlandic consent for any change in sovereignty. However, with subsidies heavily supporting its economy, the key question remains: are Greenlanders willing to trade them for the dream of independence? A majority of Greenlanders, 67.8%, support the idea of independence from Denmark within the next 2 decades, reflecting consistent results in elections where pro-independence parties receive over 70% of the vote. However, if a referendum were held today, only 38% would decisively vote for independence, while 33% would vote against, and 29% remain undecided. Any guesses for why there's hesitation? Yep, it's those Danish subsidies. Questions about Greenland's economic sustainability remain uncertain for Greenlanders. Denmark's subsidies equate to about $10,000 per person, which means for the US to buy Greenland, they'd have to match that, and possibly provide US citizenship in return, something they haven't done for Puerto Rico. Alaska, purchased from Russia in 1867 for $7.2 million, faced ridicule as Seward's folly, but history has since thawed that perspective, and the territory proved invaluable strategically and economically. Similarly, the U.S. Virgin Islands, acquired from Denmark in 1917 for $25 million, required decades of negotiation spurred only by wartime concerns over Germany using the islands as a U-boat base. Both cases highlight that persistence, shifting geopolitics, and strategic foresight can turn unlikely deals into reality. Greenland, with its resources and Arctic significance, may one day follow this precedent, so while you can never say never, the U.S. likely doesn't need to buy Greenland to achieve its strategic goals. As a key NATO ally, Denmark would likely cooperate on expanding bases like Patufik Space Base, limit Chinese influence, and co-manage natural resources, but Trump's rhetoric about buying or invading Greenland risks alienating allies. Denmark has already responded by boosting its military presence, which could isolate the U.S., weaken the international order, and benefit China. Another likely outcome is a Compact of Free Association, also known as COFA. Under this model, Greenland could retain full sovereignty and independence while granting the U.S. strategic military access and influence over its resources. COFA, currently in place with Pacific nations like Palau, Micronesia, and the Marshall Islands, allow the U.S. to oversee defense and certain aspects of foreign policy in exchange for financial assistance, infrastructure investment, and economic cooperation. For Greenland, a COFA could provide the economic support needed to offset Danish subsidies, while aligning both U.S. and Danish interests in countering Chinese dominance without direct ownership.